Chapter 559, Top-Notch Collaborator. After making his decision, Lumion had a chance to inquire, who's the suspect? Lotto Gyro, the Knight of Swords announced. Lumion recognized this individual. He was also a committee member of the Fisheries Guild. Not only did he own shares in 3 large fishing boats and the Port Santa Fisheries Company, but he was also involved in shipbuilding, ice production, and other industries. Someone in his family had already married a maiden of the sea over 100 years ago. Lumion asked thoughtfully, what's Lotto Gyro's connection to Balancet Ship Rental? He's a creditor of the company and has arranged employment for many relatives there. The Knight of Swords replied succinctly. It all adds up. Lumion nodded in agreement and paused to reflect. Let's convene at the crossroads of St. Lana Street and Golden Wheat Street. How about meeting in 3 minutes? He had never set foot in Lotto Gyro's extended family estate, so he lacked the corresponding spirit world coordinates. His only teleportation option was St. Lana Street, relatively close to their target. He needed to utilize spirit world traversal discreetly to evade any surveillance. Sure, the Knight of Swords dissolved into transparency and disappeared instantly. Lumion spent 2 minutes hydrating, donning a vest and a straw hat. Only then did the faint glow of the black mark on his right shoulder illuminate. In an instant, his figure vanished from the shrouded room. At the crossroads of St. Lana Street and Golden Wheat Street, Lumion materialized from a concealed corner. The Knight of Swords, now sporting disheveled brown hair, a switched flaxen-colored shirt, and a dark brown vest, stood at the fringe of the crimson moonlight. His pallid face and oppressive eyes hinted at an underlying transformation, as if he could shed his human guise at any moment, revealing a monstrous form fueled by pent-up desires. While others might miss these subtleties, Lumion, being an ascetic, possessed a heightened sensitivity to such situations. The Temperance faction, indeed, Lumion mused at the Knight of Swords' appearance, entertaining a whimsical thought. Bro ever considered embracing inevitability? As an alms monk or an ascetic, you'd spare yourself from enduring so much. Of course, Lumion merely toyed with the idea and wouldn't actually propose it. Without the right strokes of luck, the boon of an evil god could gradually corrupt beyonders within the potion system, eventually transforming them into humanoid monsters aligned with the evil deity. Nevertheless, his musings hinted at the potential synergy between specific sequences of the boon system and potion system. Let's proceed. As the Knight of Swords remained silent, Lumion took the lead and spoke. The Knight of Swords nodded, and they followed the shadows along the street, turning into Golden Wheat Street at a measured pace, heading north. Soon, they reached a 5-story building, resembling a small castle. Observing the illuminated windows and grayish-blue outer walls, the Knight of Swords pointed at a specific glass pane, noting, "That's Lotto's bedroom. He and his wife sleep in separate rooms." The gathered intelligence is impressively detailed. Lumion acknowledged silently and inquired, "What's your plan?" "Sneak in and take control of the target," the Knight of Swords responded succinctly. Isn't that a bit too straightforward and crude? The Gyro family likely employs more than just ordinary beyonders. Some members may have gained powers through the Sea Prayer ritual. Lumion recalled the unique characteristics of a wraith and assessed his capabilities. With one hand in his pocket, he casually remarked, "Okay." With those words, his form dissolved into a shadow, seamlessly merging with the darkness. Beside him, the Knight of Swords had already vanished. Utilizing the shadows cast on the building's outer wall, Lumion deftly infiltrated Lotto Gyro's room. In an instant, his target came into view. A middle-aged man, with slightly curly black hair and dark brown eyes, adorned in a dark blue cotton robe, greeted Lumion's sight. His long face featured a neatly trimmed thick beard. Lotto Gyro's expression morphed into one of fear, and his body froze. He stumbled toward the shadow concealing Lumion. In the reflection within each eye of the Fisheries Guild committee member, Lumion spotted the pale-faced Knight of Swords, clad in a dark brown vest and flaxen-colored shirt, with disheveled brown hair. Observing Lotto Gyro losing control of his body, unable to utter a sound, Lumion stepped out of the shadow, returning to his original form. An oppressive heaviness enveloped the air around him, akin to the weight of seawater. Apart from this, nothing seemed amiss. With a controlled step, Lumion approached Lotto Gyro, a sensation akin to moving through a swamp. He refrained from resorting to the direct use of the spell of Harumph. Firstly, the other party seemed powerless and could be managed through alternative means, saving his spiritual energy. Secondly, Lumion hesitated due to uncertainty about whether the spell of Harumph would incapacitate both of them, given the forceful possession of Lotto Gyro by the Knight of Swords. Retrieving a bottle of sedative from the Bliss Society, Lumion unscrewed the cap and brought it to Lotto Gyro's nose. Fanning the opening with his hand to hasten the gas's flow. After about 10 seconds, the committee member of the Fisheries Guild closed his eyes and slumped into unconsciousness. Remarkably, he remained standing, not collapsing to the ground. The Tarot Club's minor arcana card holder, the Knight of Swords, maintained absolute control over Lotto Gyro's body. This is even simpler than employing teleportation and the spell of Harumph. I've faced numerous Beyonders before, but never have I subdued one without laying a hand on them. I strolled up casually, administering the sedative. A wraith truly stands as an exceptional ally, capable of harmonizing with any sequence of any pathway. Yes, a wraith remains impervious to anesthetic gases. The Bliss Society's sedative had no effect on him. As Lumion observed the noiseless resolution, he almost felt as if he hadn't partaken in the skirmish at all. He returned the Bliss Society sedative to his concealed pocket and retrieved a canister of truth serum. Seizing the moment, he administered nearly a third of it to Lotto Gyro. Sensing that the sedative's impact might be short-lived on Beyonders with unknown traits like Lotto Gyro, he hastened to complete his preparations before the target regained consciousness. Within 20 to 30 seconds, Lotto Gyro's eyes fluttered open. First, he encountered Louis Barry, the adventurer in the golden straw hat, adorned with a faint smile. Subsequently, he discovered himself seated on a chair at some indeterminate moment, facing the divan in the bedroom. Lotto attempted to scream, but his vocal cords rebelled, rendering him motionless. "Have you grasped your situation?" Lumion reclined on the sofa, placing his right foot on his left knee. He spoke in Intijan. Fear etched across Lotto's face, rendering him unable to nod or respond. While he possessed certain abilities, Lotto was certain they wouldn't suffice against the adventurer Louis Barry. They would likely result in a renewed coma or a swift lightning strike. "What do you want?" Lotto suddenly inquired. He too knew Intijan. Attempting to raise his hand in surprise to touch his neck, he found himself immobilized. Lotto Gyro lapsed into silence. With a smile, Lumion responded, "I have a few questions for you. Answer them satisfactorily, and I might consider letting you live until tomorrow to assist me in spreading the word about this affair." Lotto remained silent for a moment before consenting. "What do you want to know?" Lumion casually shook his right ankle. "Are Nulfi and Batna with you?" "Yes," Lotto responded with a strong inclination to divulge information. "They're locked up in the basement. They're still alive. I just want to use them." "For what?" Lumion inquired, intrigued. Lotto's lips trembled as he explained. "I intend to use them to lead you to the location of the sea sacrificial ritual and guide you to rent a boat there." "So, you're the one who wrote that note," Lumion exclaimed in realization. "How do you plan to guide me?" Lotto struggled to articulate his actions, but his mouth moved faster than his thoughts. "I want you to discover that Nulfi and the Batna intend to rent a boat and head out to sea. Then, I'll arrange for them to seize an opportunity to escape and relay something to you, letting you know the significance of the sea area." "And then?" Lumion inquired with curiosity. Lotto sealed his lips shut, but eventually spoke. "What they will tell you is the truth, but they are unaware of one thing: never engage a child of the sea in a sea battle. Juan Oro awaits you in that sea region, ready to bury you entirely." So the Fisheries Guild planted a deceptive trail through the clue about Nulfi, posing as a turncoat to lure me into a trap and eliminate me. If I hadn't swiftly revealed my intent to investigate the sea prayer ritual, exposing Nulfi and Batna to exploitation, they might already be sleeping with the fishes. The skirmish against Lugano was crafted to deceive me. As Lumion's thoughts raced, he heard Lotto express confusion. "You haven't even started your investigation." How did you find me? You merely sent your interpreter to inquire about Nalfi and the others' whereabouts. There was no follow-up. Lumien's smile held a cryptic undertone as he disclosed, "Do you think I'm here alone to investigate the sea prayer ritual? I represent the will of many. Numerous comrades lurk in the shadows of Port Santa." Lotto felt a chill course through his stiffened body, lending credence to Lumien's words. Lumien raised his right hand and stroked his chin. "Where does your power come from?" Lotto's throat constricted as he answered, "From the sea. Each sea prayer ritual grants us strength. Unfortunately, the ritual failed last year. We received no replenishment for 2 years, and everyone weakened to varying degrees. Otherwise, Juan Aro would have finished you long ago. He would have cast your lifeless form into Wave Square, a stark warning to those who cross us. Similar to Boon. Theoretically, even without replenishment, a Boon's power will gradually wane." Lumien pondered for a moment and remarked, "The sea prayer ritual is a large-scale boon-seeking ritual, with the governor of the sea as the primary sacrifice." Lotto contemplated for a moment before responding. "He serves as both sacrifice and host. Juan Oro and we act as assistant hosts. The sea prayer ritual is essentially a marriage to the sea and appeasing it. The boon is a byproduct." Marriage to the sea. Lumien suddenly found his imagination lacking.